questions. First off, let's have Davis Baker and then Anthony Dasher.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes,
There
sir.
we go. All right. So obviously a tough loss, but is there any way, especially with it being your first road game, that you can take any type of moral victory from this game?
No, that moral victory is not a word. That's not a phrase. Learning and understanding that we can come out here and compete, for a first road game, that we can compete, we can play hard, we can play tough, we can get our speed going, we can make big plays, but we can also make mistakes, and we've got to overcome those. And, anytime as a coach, the most important thing, you want to see your team compete, but then you want them to understand what they have to take care of when it comes to communication errors on a switch or not blocking out on a free throw situation or something like that. But I'm proud of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. So moral victory is not a phrase I'd use, but proud of their effort, their tenacity, their togetherness, the bench energy in here, and what was a pretty flat crowd at times because it was a close game. And obviously there's, obviously not that many people here, but I thought our guys did a tremendous job of creating great energy for us. And now we've got to find out what our level of resilience is as we go on to play in a very, very tough place against a very, very well-coached team with Eric Musselman and a team that's very deep and can score a lot of points.
Hey, Coach, I know 10-point leads on the road and maybe a different little animal than having a 10-point lead at home. But what happened there? After you got off to that good advantage, what kind of disappointed you there?
The tough three. They made a couple of big threes. Mm-hmm. One I believe was challenged. One I believe was open. And Cameron Thomas created enough contact to get to the foul line, and would stop the clock and set it for them. And so they certainly had more free throws than us tonight. And but the bottom line is it was just a couple of threes. But at the end of the day, those aren't the things that beat you. Just like the last the last play at the end of the game where we missed the layup. That's not what beats you. That's the end result. But it's more about where we don't communicate on a switch with Days, and I believe it was Smart or Thomas, whoever it was at the end. But we didn't communicate on the switch, and Days gets that open three, and we've been switching that all game. That's where you just got to make sure that your mental toughness, that your focus and concentration and your level of communication continues to go. And I know they were tired, right? But we were making plays, and we were never not in the game. And even after we lost the lead, we were still right there. And those are the kind of things that you wish you had back, but we've got to learn from and hope that they don't happen again.
All right, up next, let's have Mark Weiser, followed by Chip Towers.
Tom, I assume that you guys fly home and then 2 days later, head back out to Arkansas.
Yes.
I'm curious with the three grad transfers you have in terms of the maturity level to kind of bounce back. Do you have a good sense of the makeup of your team in that regard?
Well, I was thinking about this today. Outside of the SEC tournament, and obviously we only played one game there before we flew home. Last time we were on the road was at LSU, and that was a completely different result. We lost the game, but it was a completely different game in the way that we played it, and we were never even close in that game. And tonight we came out, and for our first road game, we showed that we could compete. We showed that we could be tough. We showed we could get our break going and play with speed. We showed we could really move the ball. And we also showed that we got a lot of things to get better at. And but all in all, that's what we've got to look at. We've got to look at the pluses. We've got to do what we can do to control the minuses. We have to understand that we don't have the size and maybe even sometimes the strength. It depends on who's, but we don't have the size that some of these teams have, and that's where it's so important that we have great awareness off the ball when it comes to people that are cutting and moving, when we have communication on the ball when it comes to how we're defending in action, and that we have tremendous awareness when the shot goes up so that we can rebound.
Yeah, Coach, I think y'all were 28-3 on fast break points or something like that. It's unbelievable. What did you see, Coach? I thought after Kyer made his last three that he had made a play to get the ball back on their inbounds. And they were questioning on TV. They showed the replay, but they didn't review it. Did I miss something there? Or?
Yeah, I didn't understand why they couldn't review it, and I'll try to get clarity. Yeah, I couldn't. I never understood the explanation, but I understand that we've got I mean, we had 2 referees in this game that have thrown up the jump ball in the national championship game. So I have respect for those guys, but I never really understood why we couldn't review it. And I'll check on that tomorrow. I think when we have rules questions, we need to wait. I think we're pretty much mandated to wait a day before we ask it, which is fine. It'll give me a chance to review it. I have definitely heard that it was not accurate, but I haven't seen it myself. I was standing right there. I thought I had a pretty good view, but I guess all I can say right now is it is what it is.
And to be clear, you were told in the heat of the action that couldn't be reviewed.
Yes.
That we can't look at it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, up next, let's have Mike Griffith, followed by Ryan Curley.
Yeah, Coach. Actually, I was going to ask the same question, but I guess I'll change gears here and ask you a little bit about just some of the settling late in the game. In a game that's that up tempo, I mean, it just looked like for a while there's some of that movement that you talked about wasn't there, and then you started calling the play calling again. Can you talk about that down the stretch?
Yeah, when you're on the attack, we're moving the ball pretty well. You know, I should have called more plays in the Mississippi State game, especially in the first half. And I called the majority of them in the second half. That's not really how I want to coach. You know, I want them to play with freedom, and we had a lot of, I want to play out of concepts more than plays, right? And when we're moving the ball and we're cutting and we're kicking it and we're reversing through, it took us a little bit to figure out how open what we wanted was against that zone. And once we did, we got better with it. But in a situation like this, I thought our intentions were really good, but there's no question that there's a, I don't have a phrase for it. There's a yin and yang right now to play call and trusting us to make a play right now. We've got to continue to build that chemistry. What are we in, 9 games in? What is it, 9 games in? Yeah, we've got to continue to understand, that part of it. And we just got to continue to work there. And I got to continue to try to feel the game out. But our scoring wasn't the issue as much as a couple of mistakes defensively, where we weren't up on the shooter and then we missed a switch. We miscommitted on a switch days hit, which hurt us. But again, you're always, when the game is that close, you're going to live possession by possession. And that's not what it is. Our guys really fought hard. I mean, they fought hard. And against a good team that's picked 3rd in the league, a lot of talent on that roster. And we had a great look to tie the game, and at the end of the game, it was a layup to tie it, or if there was help coming out of the corner on PJ's man, then he's sitting in a place that he's making about 45% of his threes right now, from that right corner. So got the play we wanted. We just didn't get the result with the layup. But I would say this about Justin Kier. He's one of the best. If he's not the best layup maker I've ever recruited, he's right in that first couple of fingers, on the hand. I mean, he can really score. I thought he did an excellent job tonight. And we just missed at the end.